about ramai juga ni 28 out of 200. Yeah, it's working time, right? So I think I do understand that you need to be at work at this current time, but it's okay. Good morning, Encik Asbullah. How are you, Encik Asbullah? Good. How's the progress so far? You are in your first semester, correct me? Yeah, we will wait for the others to join us. Yeah. While waiting, you can ask me question. If you have question with regards to anything about your colloquium, okay. I just need to mention again that the good news kan, if you haven't heard about it yet, that your presentation for your research method will be together, which means you only need to do one presentation during the colloquium, and that will consist your presentation for this class. Okay, so you don't have to do it twice. Or today or something. Yeah, thank you. Okay, because the deadline would be 31st, right? 31st. Yeah. So apa namanya tadi tu? Yeah, so you don't have to do it twice. You only do it once, or one time, not once, one time. Yeah. So take the opportunity. Okay, some of your supervisors have called me and asked about this. Yes, and I'm glad that they are aware. Okay, we will post it again. Okay, and also if you have any questions, you can text me, or you can apa namanya email me, or you can text me lah, yeah, with regards to this. Today is going to be data collection. I think not only for the research, not only for the students who are taking research method, but this is also a crucial and important stage for those who are currently at the data collection phase. Yeah, after this phase is conducted after you present your proposal. Yeah, after you present a proposal, you make amendments on the proposal. Next stage will be data collection. In my case, it took me very fast, very quick of data collection, only two months. 2 months, because I'm doing quantitative and I'm using Google Form, and I have a lot of I was lucky. I think I managed to get a very handful of participant, okay, respondent in very short time. Very short time. I don't know. I did but before that I did apa namanya? I planned how to do it lah. Okay, first after you pre-test your questionnaire, you know, after you did your pilot test, you know, then kasi betul lagi. That was the difficult part for me lah. Okay, not difficult, challenging part for me. Yeah, you know, you send for pre-test of your questionnaire to check of the availability, reliability. Okay, some students even message me. The students now message me, Doctor, can I collect my data now? Although haven't go for proposal defense. I was like, how do you know that it will not have any problem? You know, if you have problem for your instrument or items, okay, and your examiners point out during the proposal defense, you need to amend it before you do your data collection, because you don't want to do it twice. Yeah, you don't want to do it twice. Yeah, I think that's a very crucial part. You need to make sure that your instrument is correct. The instrument is correct, the item is correct, then before you go for data collection. Because data collection, for my case, I was lucky because I'm doing quantitative, so it was very fast. Okay, 2 weeks done. Okay, done, analyze. But for those who is doing qualitative, can we still present our RP again after the colloquium? Yeah. If I don't do well, yes, you may, Aminah. Yeah, you may. But nanti semua pula buat 2 kali. Okay. Yeah, you can. Apa tadi saya cakap tu? For qualitative is different. Okay, it's different. It has a very, we will listen today from the master of the qualitative person. Okay, which is Dr. TINI. Okay, it's already 9. Oh, it's already 10. Okay, let's start. Okay, today we have a session with Dr. TINI MAIZURA. Why are you laughing, Dr. TINI? Dr. TINI MAIZURA is a senior lecturer in the faculty of business, economics and accountancy, and she is expert in tourism. And please, she is the her field is tourism. Okay, her field is in tourism, mostly in cultural tourism marketing. Has been teaching tourism marketing, doing tourism tourist behavior, okay, adventure tourism juga ada cedok juga sekali, and also have been in various grants. Okay, Dr. Tini ni Tera ni, dia Tera buat secure grant, yeah. Has been doing a lot of research on CBT. Okay, I've been working with her for quite some time. Okay, and a good friend of mine as well. So you take the opportunity. She will explain to you on the data collection. I know, okay, class, students is not going to be very detailed on how to do step by step. You know, Dr. Tini will not do that for you because we have limited time. Yeah, we just give you. This is meant for first year research method student, but I open it for everyone, for all postgraduate students. So if you are at your data collection stage, yeah, it's good for you to reminisce back all the data, all the notes. But I think, yeah, we listen first what Dr. Tini will explain. By the way, I think data, when you talk about data analysis, or data collection, is the process of what they call this systematically applying. You need to statistical, logical techniques, okay, to describe and illustrate your data, okay, especially if you are doing qualitative research. You really need to tell each and every one. This is especially for qualitative research lah, because kalau quantitative ni dia ada macam 10 steps saja, follow, analyze. Okay, but qualitative is very detailed. Even I myself not really strong with qualitative, but I want to learn as well. Okay, without further ado, the floor is yours, Dr. Tini. Thank you so much for participating and for contributing. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Izyanti. Very cheerful today. Okay. Okay, good morning, everybody. Assalamualaikum. Okay. I am here to share some to share my experience on doing a qualitative analysis for during my PhD studies. Okay. So my area of the topic that I choose using the qualitative data analysis. Okay, so mainly people were saying that qualitative is very tedious. Yes, it is. Okay, but there is, if you follow the proper steps, okay, if you get a good reference book which you use as your guideline, there will be no problem. Okay, because some of us, okay, mainly all the postgraduate students, okay, when they have the research method book, okay, they just only refer to a certain part. Okay, but the one that I am referring to, like a qualitative studies book by Robert Kayin, or even by Brown and Clark. Okay, they have some sort of a different method approach, but the steps is similar. It's just a matter of how you go about in presenting your data or the results, okay, of the data analysis. Okay, so for today, okay,
Dr. Tini, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you mind if the student asks you in between your lecture, or you want to wait? Sure. Yeah.
Yes,
we have a conversation lah kan, macam.
It's going to be a very in a relaxed mode. Don't want to be very rigid lah. Relax
Okay,
saja.
share your how you do it lah kan? Okay, sure. So if you have
Okay.
a question, you can type at the box. I will read for you, or you can also ask Dr. Tini directly. Thank you.
Okay, so initially, like every time when we talk about data analysis, it's always what you call it, linked to your research method. You need to have a really good research method in a sense of prior of getting your idea, prior getting on how to execute your idea in your research. Okay, you have to already decide, like when you got the data, okay, what approach that you wanted to do with the data. Okay, so mainly when we talk about data, okay, what is actually data? Okay, so data, usually when you see the numbers, okay, that is also considered data. Okay, so I found a very good, inilah a simple, what you call it, not too academic, but it is still very good explanation from the Wikipedia. Okay, mentioning data is actually apa ni, referring to a set of a collection of organized information. Why they call it organized? Because you wanted it that way. Meaning to say, if you go with the quantitative, you have questionnaire, you list out what are the questions that you want. Okay, same goes with the qualitative. There is the data that you actually obtain is actually what you needed from the respondents. Okay, so data refers to a collection of organized information, and usually in qualitative is actually resulting from apa, experience, observation, or experiment. Okay, for quantitative, okay, it is actually merely in the form of numbers lah. Numbers usually relates graph, statistics and whatnot. Okay, so numbers lah. So that is based on the quantitative. Okay, so to make what you call it, to be more clear on these terms about data. Okay, so it's just a matter of the apa ni, I would like to explain it, define it in a simpler way deh, a simpler way. Okay, such as the data for Mount Kinabalu is actually apa, dia punya height lah. The height of Mount Kinabalu is actually the data numbers. Okay, and a book that you read on about Mount Kinabalu, okay, is actually about the information that you obtain. Okay, and the report, okay, that you contain about Mount Kinabalu, the apa ni, you read from, let's say from the Sabah Parks punya report or whatnot, is actually apa, is considered the knowledge. Okay, so for this example, okay, it is seen that data is actually the smallest, or we could consider the lowest entity lah, or recorded elements resulting from some experience, observation. Just now I had mentioned that experiment, okay, or any other similar situation. So kena understand dulu what is actually the data. Okay, so there are many different types of analysis methods when we regard to data ni. Okay, it's actually depending on type of research, apa yang you what you choose lah. Okay, so here there are several methods that you could use to analyze the quantitative dengan qualitative data. So for today, I will briefly explain on the quantitative, okay, on the data analysis of the quantitative, and later on the qualitative part. Okay, so to start with, okay, okay. So in order to first, this stage is when you already did your interview ke, you already did your apa, survey using questionnaire, okay, and whatsoever. So this is already, you got the data and everything. So this is time for you to analyze, okay. So what is important, the first stage is actually having the data preparation lah. Okay, so in data preparation, it is actually the aim is to convert raw data into something meaningful and readable. Okay, in a sense of when you get all the numbers, when you get all the information, okay, it is all not in order. So for this data preparation, this has like what you call it, 4 steps lah for you prior you get you get your apa quantitative data ni. Okay, so while analyzing the quantitative data, which is in your data preparation, okay, the first step, okay, very inilah, this is very general, okay, so you must be aware of apa fraud, apa screening procedure, and also completeness, okay. So in a sense that when you are doing your quantitative data validation, okay, so but before that, why do you need this data validation? Okay, so the reason being why you need this data validation is to find out lah, okay, as far as possible, okay, whether the data that you have is actually being what you call that being gathered ataupun being get the information to according to the inilah standard, okay, it's done as per standard, meaning to say first of all kata dia no fraud, okay, maknanya you don't cheat out in collecting the data, okay, so there is no apa ethics lah kalau you fraud, okay, you answer the what you call it, the questionnaire yourself, so this is not acceptable, okay, so fraud is referring to apa to the process, whether the person did the survey or not, or interview the person or not, okay, and then screening, okay, ensuring that respondents are chosen as per research criteria. So you have to do the screening. Let's say you wanted to do a study on revisit intention. Revisit intention, the meaning is the person must already visit the place and is he or she coming back for the second time. It's not the first visit. So the screening is you must actually choose the one other question yang do the screening question saying that have you visit this place before? Yes. Okay, yes, only can proceed. If no, then leave. Okay, so that is the screening process. Then you come about to the procedure. So this is very important. Okay, procedure, then to check whether the data collection procedure was duly followed. Okay, because in the research methodology, okay, you need to explain the research process. How do you go about in what you call that approaching the person? Okay, whether the person is actually being forced to answer, okay, or willingly, okay. So if you are doing survey, okay, if the person decided not to participate, then that is his or her rights, okay, you cannot force. Okay, so whether they follow the procedure. Then the fourth one, the completeness, okay, to ensure, this stage is actually to ensure that the interviewer asks the respondent all the questions, meaning to say tak ada lompang, you don't skip, oh I don't like to answer this question, okay, then I go to here to this question, no, okay. So that's why you need to do apa? You punya pilot study. Okay, pilot study tu to determine why that people doesn't want to answer that question. Okay, is it have impact towards dia punya apa sensitivity? Okay, if up to like 10% does not want to answer that question, so that means something wrong with the question, and you need to take look into that. Is during your pilot study. Okay, so the completeness is when what you call it, the interviewer asks the respondent all the question, then they manage to cover everything lah, no questions left unattended. Okay, so then in analyzing quantitative data for the second stage is to do the what we call the data editing lah. Okay, so data editing ni usually the when you do this data analysis, initially the data that you get is like very large set of data lah, is big. Okay, and usually it has errors in there. You have to expect the errors. Okay, so for example, the respondents is actually may fill up the form incorrectly ke, accidentally skip ke. So that's why the first stage is very important just now when I mentioned you have to go through, kan? Okay, to make sure that no such errors, okay, So the researcher has to conduct what we call the basic data check lah. So the basic data check, check for outliers, any redundancy in that step 2 lah. Okay, and then what you can do is to edit the raw data. Okay, meaning to say what data can be cleared up from any data points. Okay, that will actually stop you from getting the accuracy of the results. Okay, and this one for, let's say, like if you have a respondent that some sort of leave certain questions unattended ataupun leave it empty lah. Okay, what you do is actually edit the data. Okay, to make sure that you remove or fill all the empty punya fields lah. Okay, so this is actually very important, okay, in data editing. Okay, and next one, the step 3 is actually one of the most important step in this quantitative data is the data coding. Okay, so what you do in the data coding for quantitative analysis is to put your data in grouping. So what are the data that you could put in grouping? For example, dia punya apa? Age. Let's say that you have like almost 1,000 respondent. So what you need to create with the, what you need to do, firstly with the age is having apa? Create age buckets lah. Meaning to say ada range dia. So for example, respondent between 13 to 15 years ke, okay, you put the coding as 0. Probably contohnya lah kan, for example, and then 16 to 18 as 1, okay, and then 18 to 20 as number 3. So you put accordingly, okay. So then during the analysis, okay, the researcher is actually able to simplify the age bracket easier lah, rather than you have to arrange everything with the massive data that you have on the age. Okay, kalau 1,000 tu, that is quite huge of data lah. Okay, and then after if I'm going to pass, please let me know. Okay.
Tempat lain ayam.
Okay, then after the analyzing of this quantitative data, okay, after you did your what you call that, the step 1, which is the data preparation, okay, and then you edit the data, okay, and then data coding, okay, then you came about to what you call it, the data is actually ready for apa? Analysis lah. So now only you can start to analyze the data. Okay, some of you will use SPSS ke, or some of you will use PLS ke. So these are actually the same steps lah, the very basic steps that you need to do prior on getting into detail with your data. Okay, so once you have cleaned the steps and whatnot for your big data just now, okay, and now only the data is ready for analysis. Okay, so and the two most common use in kita kata analysis in quantitative is the descriptive and juga inferential analysis. Okay, and cakap di okay, let me explain the descriptive analysis dulu. Okay, descriptive analysis ni ataupun they call it descriptive statistic lah. Okay, it's actually the first level of the analysis. Very what you call it, surface. Okay, you wanted to verify the basic information. Okay, so it actually helps data. Helps the researcher to summarize the data and get to know what are the patterns. Okay, so few common use descriptive statistics. Okay, are inilah according to the correlation, regression. Okay, what do you want to study? Okay, and you in this descriptive analysis or descriptive statistic ni, is actually very helpful. Okay, when you have very not to say little, but very limited sample. Okay, and does not need to be generalized to a larger population lah. Okay, and for what you call that, the inferential analysis ni pun, okay, these are the very basic on getting the mean, median, mode, okay, which age group, male, female, okay, which female has, I mean, what is the age range, okay, and then whether male or female has the highest education level ke on their punya what you call that, income and whatnot, okay, so that is based on the inilah quantitative data analysis method, okay. Also then I think this is a very what you call it as brief information on quantitative data analysis method. Okay, so I believe that there are actually the under the quantitative method ni dia ada lagi detail, so much detail if you wanted to find out on the relationship between one variables and one another variable. So they will be more in detail based on this quantitative data. Okay, so just that is a very brief introduction lah on data analysis for quantitative method. Okay.
TINI,
Yeah.
what is the most used software that for quantitative analysis?
I guess it's actually it depends. Okay, the most basic one, okay, that will be always used is SPSS lah. I think SPSS has been, I think, 20 over version kan. Sekarang ni I think dah almost 20, almost nearly to 30 lah, because they keep on upgrading. Okay, SPSS. Okay, that one is the most basic software to use. Then only they start to have the PLS, SEM, okay, all those what you call it, quantitative punya software lah. Okay, and each of the software is actually explaining relationship, is actually based on explaining the relationship. Okay, sama, it's actually sama je, dia processing the data, but more like for the PLS and SEM tu, dia more neat lah, dia ada nampak the relationship, kaitan dia, how does this relates to another variable and whatnot lah. So dia punya grafik tu dia dah clearly ready for you to explain it to your audience or to your to your reader or examiner. Okay, but much of SPSS ni dia much more on numbers. Okay, by reading why is it dia punya feasible ke tidak feasible. Okay, so it is actually sama, but dia ada speciality or each of the software itself lah. Okay. Okay, and now I am going to going into the qualitative part of the data analysis. Okay, and for this qualitative analysis, okay, to start up also, okay, similar approach of how you go about in determining whether are you going to do qualitative analysis or quantitative analysis. So you need to during when you set up your objective of your research, okay, is already you are going to know, okay, what approach you wanted to get. Okay, so the startup of every qualitative study needs to always consider these essential features, which is the first one, the topic lah, like any other similar with quantitative. Then what is the topic, data collection method, okay, how are you going to collect the data, source of data itself. Okay, in many cases a fieldwork setting, where are you going to get the data, and apa ni, where are you going to get the data to be collected. Okay, and as you can see that the qualitative data analysis ni dia work a little bit differently from the quantitative data analysis, primarily because of this qualitative data. Okay, it's actually made of words. Okay, words, observation, image, okay, and even symbols. Okay, so what you need to get from the analysis is actually more on deriving on the apa ni, absolute meaning lah. Okay, absolute meaning from data that is very which is usually kalau qualitative data ni memang quite sangat leceh lah, because sangat it's very tedious. Okay, it's very tedious. Besar, banyak. Okay,
banyak.
Besar, banyak. Okay, so and most of the qualitative ni biasanya dia akan relate with what we call the exploratory research. Okay, and just now when I mentioned on the quantitative research, okay, usually there is a clear distinction lah between the data preparation and the apa ni, data analysis stage. But apa ni, and the analysis for qualitative research ni begin actually as soon as the data is being gathered or the data is available. Okay, so in this what you call it analysis, okay, the data is analyzed using thematic analysis. Okay, so today I will explain on what is the process lah, the introductory process on this thematic analysis. Okay, and when we talk about thematic analysis, okay, Brown and Clark, okay, 2006, their research on 2006 on the methods, and 2014, okay, and also even Caulfield pun you could use it as a apa ni, reference. Okay, and this researcher, okay, stated that thematic analysis is actually the most apa ni, primary method in qualitative analysis. Okay, okay, and when we call thematic analysis, what is actually thematic analysis? Okay, they derive from the word themes. Themes tu kalau dalam in Malay they call it apa, tema lah, apa, what actually the theme, the tema that you wanted to obtain. Okay, and the themes in this what you call it qualitative analysis is actually denoting apa, essential statement. Okay, essential statement, and that is actually represent apa ni, particular repeated response, okay, deriving from the transcription. Okay, so hold on. Oops. Okay, battery running out. Okay. Okay. So, okay, just now apa I mentioned tadi that the what you call it the response is actually deriving from the transcription. Okay, so how do you go about doing your transcription? Okay, so transcription ataupun transcribe lah dia panggil. So transcribe is actually when you do the qualitative study, you need to have your apa, recorder. Okay, the tape recorder plays a huge role. Okay, in getting the the recorded version of your response from your respondent. Yeah.
Maybe you can give examples. Yeah. Question that is suitable for qualitative research. Question yang that you might want to ask your respondent, that you cannot ask in quantitative. You tak boleh ask this question in quantitative. You need to do qualitative. Okay, maybe you can give some example perhaps, maybe
Yeah.
contoh
Okay,
dia.
so I have example here. Okay, let's say this is actually basing on I based my this example on my study last time. Okay, let me go on here. Okay, so these are I am conducting a research on marketplace. Okay, and I wanted to know, okay, what is the opinion on the marketplace. Okay, and my chosen destination is to compare a marketplace, okay, whether the marketplace in Thailand, in Cambodia, in Malaysia, okay, what are the similarities? Is there any differences? And is there any similarities? Okay, so I am using what you call that the repertory grid analysis. So repertory grid analysis is actually from siapa tak lupa. Okay, suddenly I kind of like black out. Repertory grid analysis. Okay. So I later I tell you who is it from. Okay. So in repertory grid analysis ni is actually mostly the study is applied to patients that having some sickness and whatnot lah. The doctor used that, but then I'm applying it towards the types of marketplaces. Okay, so there's a lot of steps in determining how many samples that I need to get, okay, in the research method, okay, and then how do I go about in choosing this market, because as you can see that when we talk about marketplace, okay, I need to determine the definition itself for marketplace. What is the marketplace? Mesti ada turis yang datang. Okay, there must be turis punya presence in that marketplace. Then you can only there's a specific what you call that, a definition for that. Okay, and the marketplace itself, okay, there's so many markets. Marketplace ada morning market, after only night market, okay, flower market, apa lagi, tourist market. There's so many things. So you need to categorize very well, okay. And how do I go about in using, okay, this repertory grid analysis is by putting the what you call that, the pictures, okay. And these are the methods on how I want the tourists to actually define what is actually marketplace. Okay, so I was referring to, let's say this is actually the Wildlife Walking Street market in Chiang Mai. Okay, and I compare, and the question, and this question is actually repetitive. So how this picture is different from this picture 4, and from picture 7. Okay, so these are the what you call it, the question that I wanted to get from the tourists. Okay, so in terms of qualitative, so I will be recording on the response. Okay, and there is actually 3 sets of picture. Okay, and how can I know where to stop? Okay, nanti I explain on how the method of data saturation. Okay, these are all very important terminologies in qualitative. Okay, so because if you ask during quantitative, okay, what about this picture? Okay, you cannot simply, because you wanted to get the perception of the tourists about the marketplace. So that is very what you call it, not to say absurd, like it's very you cannot define what is people punya definition.
It with very macam nak cakap, very happy, sad. It's very The feelings is very, perhaps, Dr.
Correct.
Tini, I might describe it as chaotic, but Dr. Tini might describe it as fascinating.
Yes.
You know, so I cannot just tick. Okay, it's fascinating. It's enjoying. It's nice. Tak boleh. So you have to ask the person, right? That what do you think? So that's the reason why this study, Dr. Tini is using qualitative instead of quantitative.
Yes. Okay, so that's why when we talk about observation, when we talk about experience, these are more towards qualitative study. Okay, and let me get back to the earlier slide. Okay, so is this the one? Yeah. Okay. So when we talk about the characteristic, okay, so these are the characteristic of the qualitative data, the one that I have explained earlier, okay, and these are how you go about in analyzing, okay, and as I mentioned just now, the qualitative analysis is actually different from the quantitative, okay. So what you need to get is actually getting the preparation of, first of all, getting familiar with the data. Okay, one is a must thing to do. A must is very vital, is very crucial for you to conduct your own data collection. Okay, for qualitative analysis, it is best for you to familiarize, to immerse yourself in the data collection. Okay, and for qualitative study too, you need to be at the location itself to get the experience, to get the feel, to get the the observation of the person that you are interviewing. Okay, so this is actually something that you must remember vividly, like not simply just passing questions. Okay, because this has value towards your write up. Okay, so when you did getting familiar with the data, I said, okay, since most qualitative data later on is just words, okay, you need to be able to start reading several times. So if you are actually collecting the data, definitely you will remember, okay, how do you go about in getting this? What is the expression of the person? Okay, so getting familiar with the data is very important. Okay, and this includes inilah transcribing the data while you transcribe. Okay, whatever that you listen, okay, is if the person is having the filler words, you must write it. So meaning to say every single little thing, because this is very crucial. That's why I tell you this is very tedious. Okay, once you record, if the person coughs, so then you put in a open parenthesis coughing. Okay, and those type of things. Okay, it's not that you are actually writing back the whole scenario when you transcribe you punya result. Okay, so this is very important to avoid biasness later on, which is the most important thing to be remembered in qualitative. Okay, and then after you getting familiar with the data, then you start to revisit your research your research objective. Okay, and to find out whether this can be answered through the data collection, then you go on with your developing your framework. Okay, coding, indexing. Okay, try to get the researcher concept, ideas. Okay, and then identifying the patterns and the connection. Okay, and once it's coded, okay, analyzing qualitative also need to be coded. Okay, and you start to identify the themes. Okay, then qualitative data method analysis, rule number 1. Okay, so this is analyze data using thematic analysis, and I see that some of you are saying use NVivo. Yes, that one if you can use the software. Okay, oh no, okay, they apply it to, yes, correct, betul. Okay, okay, then okay, so these are actually the method research by Brown and Clark. Okay, you must follow these steps if you were to do the thematic analysis. First of all, transcribing apa statement. Okay, and this, when you have this in your thesis, okay, you must explain it very well as the steps that you are actually doing to inilah to the person, how you go about to get the data, you transcribe every single little thing. But you don't have to include that in your inilah the example in your write up. Okay, you could use that as the attachment at the back of your thesis, because that is what examiner for qualitative looking for. They wanted to know whether this person is actually doing the transcribing process correctly. Okay, and then observing common construct. Okay, what is actually common construct? Okay, meaning to say that these are the I kata words that have the pre-theme punya what you call that, pre-theme punya purposes. Okay, so we shall look into the next example. Okay, so these are the responses. Okay, so for example, okay, this is actually the picture 7 just now. This is for example. Okay, picture 7, the response from the tourists. Set up their stalls. What is the difference between picture 7 and 8? They were saying that, oh, the setting up of their stalls to display their product, night market very crowded, packed, not very appealing to me. So this tourist was saying, okay, the night market not appealing. Then the difference of picture 8 to picture 4, so many hundreds of booths selling good quality tourist stuff, from clothes to wood carving, fun evening, crowded but nice experience. Okay, so this is actually the second stage already, not from the whole from the raw data. Okay, and then here, this is why what I do is I some sort of try to verify which are the words that has the most said in this statement for this person. Okay, and we go back to the previous slide. Okay, then this is the time when I have to start to organize the theme codes. Okay, so from all of my studies, okay, my respondents for my qualitative study is 66 tourists. Okay, so being what you call that, being distributed lah, evenly lah, meaning to say like the first we make that some of the information lah. Okay, this is when the what you call it, the data is saturated. Okay, so from this the results of getting the theme, okay, that there's so many words that came with this the perception of the marketplace: crowded, noisy, dyspnea, packed, gloomy, chaotic, lively atmosphere, okay, swarming with people, not appealing. So you some sort of gather all these what you call it, constructs. Okay, because this is not according to theme yet. So how the atmosphere does not come yet. Okay, so how can I know that these words is actually belongs to atmosphere? Okay, so what I did is like okay, okay, like you see that these are what you call it, the results. Okay, the theme construct were developed to form very useful all-encompassing summaries of the words ni lah. So okay, so one of the method, okay, at this stage to improve the reliability. Okay, so if it's in quantitative, reliability test there is a reliability test to ensure that whether the question's result is reliable or not. So, but qualitative, how can you go about in determining the reliability? Okay, so to improve, in order to improve the reliability of this kind of research, okay, we need to implement precise coding rules, okay, based on the work of Kerlinger and Lee, year 2000. Okay, so for reliability, for thematic analysis, we always quote this researcher, okay, Kerlinger and Lee, okay, and we use that as a guide. Okay, so what did Kerlinger and Lee in their research said that a researcher needs to be able to specify, build their categories according to the research problem and purposes. Okay, and make sure that the categories are exhaustive. Okay, so exhaustive, okay, is very important. Okay, and then you need to reduce. Okay, banyak-banyak ni, all of this construct is very banyak. How can you actually reduce this? Okay, so the same thing, reducing according to Tuckett. Okay, Tuckett 2005 say that reduction of construct occurred in order to reduce redundancy. Okay, so how can I go about in categorizing it? Who am I to, because I am not a native speaker, how can I know that these words belong to atmosphere? Okay, and I have the next steps is to you bring all these words, okay, and I wrote each of these words into a card, okay, and I have I met, okay, about plus minus 10 to 15 native speaker of English, okay, those who are actually familiar with the marketplace. So those students that I wanted to use to reduce my redundancy is must have the experience going to marketplace. Okay. So what they did is I already wrote this construct in card. Okay, and those postgrad students will actually put the written construct or cards, okay, into the common clusters. So I am using another the credibility of these higher postgrad students, okay, to put whether these words to where it's supposed to go. Okay, so meaning to say that those people help me to identify, okay, which word best describe each of the cluster. Okay, so the results is actually from here. Okay, so when we have a pleasant, this is after we reduce the upper redundancy. Okay, and when we talk about this element, okay, they were saying that mainly this is actually based on the atmosphere. Okay, and so this is how it went lah. Okay, so another step, okay, so another step, I hope I don't confuse you all, okay, because the way I explain it is quite based on my experience, okay, and I really hope I don't confuse you. Okay, it is much more easier if you have been to the data collection, okay, of qualitative analysis, and when it is right now, if you were to analyze, then you can actually get the feel of how do you go about on getting all this thematic analysis. Okay, so how can I get the atmosphere again? So atmosphere is actually the theme that stands out the most frequent set lah, according to the construct. Okay, and based on this, there are over 30 glossary items with regards to atmosphere. So that's why we use they put it as a atmosphere. So who is actually determining that this word supposed to be to put in the atmosphere? Okay, the person, the native speaker, because the same thing, synonyms. Okay, I am not the native speaker. Okay, but out of 10 of them agree that atmosphere fills up this process.
TINI, I would like to ask a question. The atmosphere, the theme, atmosphere is the theme, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the theme that came out
Oh.
when they asked about the perception.
Okay. Do you get that from previous research?
No.
No. Oh no.
The
Tidak.
result is actually based on the theme that came up.
From your research, bukan daripada previous
No,
research.
no, no.
Masuk kat otak.
So the perception, so meaning to say the perception, when we talk about marketplace, the tourists will always relate to the atmosphere that apa ni sticks to their mind. Okay, when we talk about atmosphere, okay, the apa chaotic, what you call it, environment, okay, dia punya apa ni very touristy lah. There's a lot of tourists there, so those type of things lah. Okay, so these are the most difficult part in determining the theme.
Yes, I think that's difficult because it's challenging because based on our understanding, right? Because if it's in quantitative, the variable is based on previous studies. You know, you just want to, betul, atmosphere is one of the things. You just want to, apa namanya, confirm. This study also, atmosphere is one of the factors as well, you know, but not in qualitative, right? Qualitative, you, based on all the feedbacks and the interviews that you got, you transcribe, yeah. So, yeah, it's
That
challenging.
is why they said that there is the bias, what you call it, the biasness of study is more, kita kata, how should I say, more prone in this qualitative analysis. So that's why when I assist in what you call it, examining research on qualitative, these are the things that I will stress on, because I just want to know you don't base on your opinion in selecting the theme. Okay, there must be a method, or you could hire, or you could ask apa ni, a person from the language center that helps you to determine, okay, how to go about in categorizing this mode of this theme that appear from your what you call it, process of getting the thematic analysis. Okay, so and with this, okay, because of when we talk about the atmosphere, okay, 30 glossary came up. Okay, the next element, okay, is I forgot what is it, but I think I obtained 5 elements. Okay, when we talk about tourist marketplace. Okay, so this is actually based on general inilah dia punya results comparing the three countries. Okay, so these are the what you call it, the dictionary punya apa ni, the glossary when we talk about marketplace. So this thing came up lah in the study. Okay, and then another thing is, okay, when you have all this result, okay, most of the students love to put everything. Maksudnya apa? The process whatsoever, the process how they the words, the wording by the what you call it, conversation with the tourists, they put it in together in their writings. Okay, so in my opinion, okay, in Malaysia they love to do that because they think that the thicker their thesis is, the better. But this is actually all crappy stuff. Okay, for your information, okay, I have to apa ni, remove almost 30 pages of my write-up from my professor. Okay, they said you don't need this. This is all crappy work. Okay, this is all, you don't need this. All we need is the analysis of what you have done. So that is the best for you to write up. Okay, so even though if you put what you call that, the process of your doing your transcribe, how to do this, okay, you must put it in a pleasant way, that the best way lah, I mean, to display your result. Okay, so how can you go about in displaying your result? Okay, so these are the 3 modes for this displaying the qualitative results. Okay, so the first one, this is adopted from the Robert K. Yin. Okay, so word, tables, and list. Okay, summary of findings, place into a metric rows and columns, chronology. Okay, aggregate characteristic of people studied or interview list of individual people. So this must be put in a word table and list. So this is how it is. This is how I put it. Okay, word list. Okay, and then the next one, graphics. Geographic map, census tract map, spatial layout of a study area, hierarchical, and it does not only means word tables. Okay, most of the time here, from my experience, from my brief experience lah, but most of the time the students when talk about qualitative is all word tables. So the thesis is not lively, like it is full of oceans of words. Okay, so you can put geographic map. Okay, just put a map comparing your location. You put, okay, where is, let's say for my thesis, okay, for my research, Cambodia, Thailand, and Malaysia. So the information, just put a blocks. So when the what you call it, examiner, or when people look at the map, they to quickly understand. Okay, they don't have to go through a listing of whatsoever. Okay, so that is how you could choose to display your qualitative punya ini result. Okay, so this is how I do it lah. On my apa, so I list out all the 8 pictures. Okay, and pictures you have to select lah. Okay, don't simply put apa ni pictures that is unclear, meaning to say blurry. Okay, or picture that you take from Google but you did not credit the owner. Okay, and this is very what you call it, very important to in order to, you know, make your apa thesis ini looks nice lah. Okay, so when you put all these apa ni word table list ni, usually reader dia easily can scan you punya table easily lah, understand. Okay, and then graphics, okay, drawing scheme, crafted works ke, okay. So these are actually relevant to many qualitative study lah. Okay, and then besides that, photograph, okay, good photographs, okay, as I said just now, not blurry, okay, glossy, even better. Okay, some of the students here afraid to print colored sebab mahal kata dia, it's very expensive. Okay, but if you want to do it good, do it all the way. Excellent job, so you don't regret, because this is your master's or even your PhD. You have to value, okay, you punya effort lah. Okay, and then besides that, okay, about photography, okay, maybe the participants place they do dia punya study ke, okay, data collection. So when we talk about the atmosphere, okay, so the reader can relate, oh, this is the environment, okay, the atmosphere environment in Chiang Mai memang crowded. You could see tourists, okay, very touristy stuff, okay, for example, cultural central market dekat apa Kuala Lumpur memang very touristy. Touristy ni maksudnya full of tourist stuff lah, okay, which is not suitable to put in your house lah. All these wow and whatsoever t-shirts and whatnot. Okay, so when they read, okay, the results and the picture that this person portray, inilah selari lah, kita kata apa dia, align. So meaning to say, oh, okay, this is what when I read, okay, I understand. Okay, and I think, okay, this is very important. Okay, so common mistakes by a qualitative researcher lah. Did not show analysis or procedure. Okay, this is my findings lah, my dapatan when I read being the examiner. Did not show analysis or procedure. Okay, suddenly you just give results. Okay, there is no clear steps. You have to write all over again from the beginning, how you collect your data, getting this section, it must be clear. Okay, and then did not explain apa or justify on the number of respondents. Okay, and then when you are not able to justify the number of respondents, okay, then you'll put at the back apa ni in chapter 5 or 6, limitation, not enough respondent. How is that so? Okay, so that's why you need to able to come out with a justification. Why is this number suitable? Okay, if it's in qualitative analysis, this word is very important, data saturation. Okay, so in qualitative analysis, okay, if you had 10 respondents, okay, if you, when you ask the question, you will get the similar response, okay, 10, 20, that shows that, okay, the data is already saturated, so it's time for you to stop.
Dr. TINI?
Yeah.
Yeah, so meaning that for qualitative research, you cannot actually determine first how many.
Correct.
Oh,
so that's why I was saying that you are the one who must go do the data collection. Then you already know when to stop because you are the one who conduct. Oh, you have seen the pattern. Okay. Okay. So these are actually the pattern and how it goes. Okay. So another approach is once you okay, let's say you finish for the day, you get 6 respondent. Okay, you don't keep for another 2 weeks or 3 weeks to do your transcribe. Okay, you will forget, okay, what is the next thing that you need to add on about this person and whatnot.
Dr. Tini, one question. I have one question. Okay, if your studies, let's say your studies is, let's say Sabah, okay, as a whole, okay, Sabah as a whole, and you need to know the, let's say, strategy implied by resort hotel in Sabah. Okay? Do you need to go to different location to collect the data, or you just go to MK sampai saturated enough?
Yes, because you say Sabah. Sabah is huge. Okay, still okay. And when we talk about hotels and resort, they have their categories. They have city hotels. Resorts is different. They are in different terminology. Okay, and then hotels also they have rating 3 star, 4 star, 5 star. Okay, so that's why you have to check on if it's in Sabah, the difference between the West Coast hotel punya strategy and the East Coast. Okay, so that is how it works. Okay, you don't say that, oh, anti-saturated, and also you need to also interview the right person. You don't interview any Tom, Dick, and Harry that operates those who are actually strategizing the hotel operation. Only you interview, kan? So those type of things lah. Okay, and let me finish this. The common mistake. Another one is analysis of the procedure which is not structured. And the results did not harmonize. The results are not refined to become the findings. So this one can you remember? Okay, these are the things that usually we look for to determine, okay, whether this person is actually mastering the qualitative analysis. Okay, and I believe this is my last slide. Is thematic analysis the only way to analyze the qualitative research?
Hello.
Yeah.
Dr. Tini, can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
Regarding data saturation, certain authors, for example, talking about Guest, Barnes, Johnson, they claim that when you reach normally around 12 interviewees can reach and can derive data saturation if you define very well the profile of your interviewees. So I'm talking about beyond that, no more themes are rising. So what is your feel? What is your opinion about this particular number? Because some people say, you know, I have 5 interviewees and then I reach data saturation. No more themes are rising. But this particular author, which is a renowned one, they say the number is around 12 to 13. What do you think about this particular number?
Okay, so thank you for your question. Okay, so that's why I was telling you each of the person, they have a different approach. Okay, so meaning to say, if you are following this person, 12 to 16, and you said you will initially mention it in your write up. Okay, you are using this what you call it, definition or claim by this person saying that data saturation between 12 to 16. Okay, and you believe that okay, since like you check your results, okay, and the number is 18, so you think you better stop. Okay, you think that this is what you call it, it's best for you to stop because according to this person you already reached the data saturation. So you must mention that according to, you must cite the person who said that. So in a way that we understand, okay, you are actually following this person what you call it, results based on his research.
Thank you, Doctor.
Supported by literature, correct. Okay, so okay, this thematic analysis is the only way to analyze the qualitative research. It seems yes. Okay, and okay, but if you are actually using software, okay, such as NVivo or let's say Mensa, okay, you could do more. Usually they have better, what they wanted to find is actually the theme that came up from each of these what you call it, study that you have. Okay, so that is why, okay, this is actually not the traditional way, but it is more I believe that the steps is still very valid, okay, because you are actually immersing yourself with the data, with the results and whatnot. Okay, compare to it's being apa ni, when you have the software, is actually apa, helps to beautify the results as well as simplify the method, the process that you are going to. But still, you still have to do your transcribe. You still have to do. It's just a matter of keying in those words into the software that make it easier. Okay, and nice, the result will come out nice. So printed out, so you just cut and paste the result. Okay, so yes, I think that is my last slide lah. Thank you very much. So hopefully that some of you got ni lah a little bit knowledge lah from my what you call it, talk today.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Do you have any question? It's very interesting. I myself is not. I wrote papers, 3 papers using qualitative method, using thematic. Okay, but it was only 2 questions that I asked the respondents, so it was not that difficult for me to transcribe it. But if for PhD, I think it is a really thorough job. And for all of your information, Dr. TINI is also been called for examining students pre-viva, viva session, especially qualitative. So looking at her, and she is very particular on how the student really analyze the data. That's why I call her upon today. And usually in tourism, hospitality, few studies are using qualitative lah. So that's why I'm glad that she's able to be here to share her experience on how it goes. And yeah, you need to be very detailed on this lah. Any one of you, maybe you can raise your hand if you're doing qualitative method analysis for your study, for your PhD or Masters, or anyone who has yet to plan, suddenly listen today like, oh my God, there's a lot of work to do. If I do PLS, I just go, do it, done, you know? If PLS, I do it like what, 1 week, done. Now I have to write, you know? But again, who else is doing it using, tadi saya tak nampak, anyone of, Mr. Kamarul is here, yeah, also qualitative, a master in qualitative too. Yeah, they are tourism lecturers who are doing it. Any question? No question? You should ask question on data analysis or quali or quanti perhaps, if you
because I confused them more, so that's why I got no question.
want to ask perhaps. Any questions? Yeah, the procedure. I would balik-balik experience aku je TINI, tak ada experience online ke. My experience, I did apply for grant, okay, but I'm not good in qualitative. I'm still learning on qualitative. So they commented on my qualitative method, which is, you know what, it is not explained thoroughly. You cannot just say, I will go and collect the data, qualitative, I will just go interview the hotel operators. Cannot. You have to tell how, when, how many, why, you know, those are the questions that you will be asking.
Sure.
Right? Okay. No question? Thank you, Dr. Tini. Miss Wendy.
Thank you.
Wendy. Hi, Miss Wendy. You are here, Wendy. I thought you were at your session. There's
Yeah, I am still learning from Dr. Tini. My qualitative is not good enough, so I have to explain. And I didn't use any software. So I like to ask Dr. Tini, is it good to use software? Like just now you mentioned, it will help us. We still have to do the transcript, but it will help us to present it like PowerPoint, like that, better way. So,
not in a PowerPoint, but like they will link, okay, the main theme towards to other what you call that, other sub theme from the what you call it, you know, questions that you have. So that is, I think in Australia, Leximancer is, I think they widely use Leximancer in Australia.
yeah.
Okay, Wendy? Yeah.
Okay. I will continue to learn more from you, Dr. Tini. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
okay. Tak ada question, Tini. I think they are confused. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe they were. Do they need to go for a paid course, Dr. Tini? If you were the students, would you go to a paid course that need to be paid to learn how to learn how to do it?
They have a very I think there's plenty of what you call it, academicians that conduct how to go about in analyzing, okay, like Dr. Siti, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, so Dr. Siti. Oh my God. Yeah.
The one Dr. Siti in what you call it, in
Syria. Is it?
PhD, the apa ni, doctorate support group. I think they have a similar. I forgot her actual name actually. Okay, and they teach you lah. Okay, how to go about in getting the data right. How to the process of getting the theme and whatnot. How to present your results also. They'll have that. Yeah.
Okay.
Because as I mentioned just now, like Mr. Humberto, okay, mentioned about this person is saying this, and how can you go about in making sure that, okay, the approach that you use is actually correct.
Okay, if there's no question, we will end the session with photo session perhaps. Madam Elizabeth, is that okay?
Okay, dokter.
Oh, Madam Elizabeth is alert.
Mungkin buka semua kamera kan?
Ya, mungkin boleh buka semua kamera. Pakai t-shirt saja saya, sebab saya from home.
Hi Mary.
Hi, Doctor. Thank you for the great sharing.
Thank you. Sikit je. Tu ada Sifu tu, Cik Kamarul Mizal tu. Diam-diam sana saja.
Cik Kamarul tu expert in analyzing juga tu.
Okay. 1, 2, smile. One, two, smile. One, two, smile.
Wah, lagi Ali.
One, two, smile.
Banyak.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'll be seeing you again for the next session. Thank you, Dr. Tini, for contributing. Okay, walaupun, you know, I have to secure this session with her. It's not easy because she's so busy with things and works. Yeah. Okay, I'll see you around. Take care, everyone. Don't forget to submit your form for colloquium.